Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 323 based on novel. So let's start. Thank you, fellow cultivator Lu, for showing mercy. Du Lin's face was pale as he clasped his hands. Blood flowed down the corner of his mouth and he quickly left in the rain. His back looked very bleak. As the head elder of the rank 7 Purple Pine Valley and one of the focuses of the main sect, a large amount of pills had been delivered to him. Even powerful cultivators had gone to teach him Tao, and he thought he already was standing at the top. But today, his opponent hadn't even gone all out. Just one spell that extracted the planet's soul had made him lose. In truth, when he saw Wang Lin pull out the planet's soul, he knew he would lose. However, he thought he could resist for a moment or two. But the truth was cruel, and it was his complete loss. This kind of metal blow made him feel very bitter. He returned to the Purple Pine Valley section in the rain and silently sat there. Yin Yu was also pale as she bit her lower lip and clasped her hands at Wang Lin before turning away. She was also bleak in the rain. Mu Bingmai stared at all of this, stunned. She originally thought she understood Wang Lin's cultivation the most, but now she found that her understanding of him was truly insignificant. 100 years. I didn't think he would become this strong. Mu Bingmei's gaze fell on Wang Lin, and at this moment, she felt him become unfamiliar. That white hair and white robe made the bitterness in her heart even stronger. No one here knew Wang Lin's past like her, she even knew half of Wang Lin's life. The small cultivator that had his family killed and was forced to escape from the country of Zhao. The cultivator that had caused rivers of blood to flow in the country of Zhao. This was the man that had gradually become famous on planet Suzaku, until he almost became the next ruler of the planet. Now he was strong enough to make the stars tremble with a stomp of his feet. Li Qianmai also didn't think that Wang Lin would shock her after 100 years. Killing the two people from the celestial music sect, killing Zhao Long, easily beating Yun Shan, and finally using the planet soul extraction spell to beat Du Lin and Yin Yu. As for Wang Shanshan, she also sucked in a breath of cold air. She had a clear understanding of planet soul extraction and had seen her teacher use it. Her teacher said that there were no more than 3 people in the Cloud Sea that could do this. Above the planet's soul was the void soul. This void meant the soul of the star system. The spell to pull out the soul of a star system was a spell of the 3rd step. Her teacher had said that among the 2nd step cultivators, there was a legend from ancient times. This legend spoke of the 4 great spells a 2nd step cultivator could learn from comprehending the heavens. 2 of the 4 were planet soul extraction and spatial bending. These spells didn't need to be learned but could be comprehended based on one's luck. However, there were far too few people who could comprehend them. The silence continued after Du Lin and Yin Yu left. It was as if no one was willing to break this eternal silence. The elders of the everlasting sect all looked at Wang Lin with respect. They couldn't see through Wang Lin's cultivation or his spells. Whether it was the heavenly fate finger, the heavenly fire, or the most shocking planet soul extraction, they were all shocking. The elders couldn't help but be in awe of Wang Lin. They didn't know that what spells Wang Lin had, but they had a feeling that the spells he had shown weren't his limit. There were still too many secrets and shocking surprises hiding within him. Does anyone else from the rank 7 region dare to spar with me? Wang Lin waved his right hand and the ancient aura slowly dissipated. It was as if the soul was being given back to the cultivation planet. The earth trembled slightly and gradually returned to normal. It was as if everything that had happened was only an illusion and never happened. However, the rain and flashing thunder clearly reminded everyone of how real and terrifying it was. Wang Lin's words didn't break the silence. It was as if his voice was the root of the silence. As his words echoed in the rain, this silence became even more intense. Absolute silence would often cause an invisible pressure. At this moment, the source of the pressure was Wang Lin. He stood there upright, and his white robe made this pressure even stronger. No one dared to stand out, and they all stared at the platform, at the man in the rain that felt like the heavens. At this moment, Wang Lin's appearance and demeanor were all engraved deeply in their hearts. It was something they could never forget. In this silence, the eyes of the everlasting sect's sect master lit up as he stared at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Fellow cultivator Lu injured the 3 disciples that were meant to participate in the competition between the rank 8 sects. You will have to give his old man an explanation." His gaze seemed to become 2 rays of sword energy and shot at Wang Lin. His gaze seemed to cause the thunder in the sky not dare to approach the platform, and even the rain seemed to stop in the air. It was as if the world had stopped moving. All of this was because of the old man's gaze. Just his gaze could produce such a heaven-shaking effect. This was not something a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator could do, only someone who had experienced the heaven's blight could. Wang Lin had the strongest feeling. He was being locked on by the gaze, and he felt as if everything in the world belonged to the other person. The gaze was like the arrival of the heaven's might. Thunder naturally had to dodge and rain had to stop in the face of the heaven's might. Even Wang Lin's mind rumbled. The injuries that were being suppressed in his body showed signs of erupting, but Wang Lin's expression remained neutral. His eyes lit up and his gaze collided with the old man's. Just at this instant, a thunderous rumble echoed across the world. A powerful pressure spread out like crazy when their gazes meet. The cultivators around the platform all felt the howling wind. They felt like lonely boats in the raging sea. They all activated the origin energy in their bodies as it felt like they would drown if they didn't do this. Li Qianmei's eyes became cold and killing intent erupted from her body. She was going to enter this pressure to help Wang Lin. However, the moment her aura appeared, the old man raised his hand and waved. An powerful pressure pushed the killing intent back and suppressed it to within 7 inches of her body. Mu Bingmei's eyes became cold and the origin energy in her body moved, revealing her Nirvana Shatterer cultivation. Her hands formed a seal and she was about to attack, but she immediately felt an irresistible force suppressing her, making it impossible to use her cultivation. The everlasting sect's sect master's powerful cultivation was revealed to the world. To be able to become the sect master of a rank 8 sect meant that his cultivation wasn't normal. Mu Bingmei's face became pale. She could feel the killing intent inside the sect master's pressure. Although this was likely fake, being concerned made her mind a mess. She didn't have time to think, so her hand formed a strange seal. It was a spell that was passed down from generations of brilliant void saintesses. The moment this seal appeared, an illusionary glass bottle appeared around her body and knocked away the force suppressing her. Her body rushed out, but her face became even more pale. If she wasn't injured, she could have used this inherited spell perfectly. However, her body was destroyed and her origin soul was damaged, and using this spell had made her injuries worse. This scene shocked the old man in white. At this moment, Li Qianmei also released a shocking aura. A monstrous killing intent was released. It was as if a demon had appeared and torn the suppression force away. Li Qianmei broke free of the old man's pressure and charged out. There was a jade before her. This was the jade that the mysterious person in the demon sect had given her. All of this happened in a flash. The moment Li Qianmei and Mu Bingmei rushed out, Wang Lin lifted his right foot and took a step forward. At this moment, he merged with the world and seemed to become one with the cultivation planet. An ancient aura filled his body. There is no need for you all to act. As he walked forward, he waved his hand and a powerful yet gentle energy surrounded Li Qianmei and Mu Bingmei, causing the two to stop. Heaven's Blight Cultivator, I have already battled one before. At this moment, a golden light erupted from Wang Lin's body. It was like a sun, gentle, but it also had the power to tear the night apart. The moment it scattered, the thunder that was avoiding this area gathered once more and the rain that had stopped fell once again. It was as if the world had begun to move again at this moment. A sound of shock came from the old man in white. The moment he stood up, the rain collapsed into white gas that shot into the air. I can participate in the competition between the rank 8 sects, but you also have to give me an explanation for the origin sect. Wang Lin immediately saw through the old man's intent. The killing intent was just fake. The eyes of the old man in white shined and he smiled. Just as he was about to speak, his expression changed and he looked into the distance. A thunderous rumble echoed as a ray of light came from the distance. This ray of light contained an aura without emotion as a low voice came from the sky. Do you dare to take one of my spells? High Elder. Everyone in the everlasting sect stood up and clasped their hands. Their expressions were very respectful. Wang Lin raised his head. The golden light from his body was like the sun rising from the sea. It was dazzling. As he looked at the approaching light, even his eyes were golden. Why would I not dare? Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. Their light suddenly replaced all light in the world. This caused the entire world to be enveloped in a golden light. Even the rain in the sky seemed to become golden. It was as if Wang Lin's figure had become the rising sun. The golden light he released shot out like swords that were filled with the law of origin. As the emotionless voice echoed, a white-haired old man arrived in the ray of light. His old face was filled with wrinkles and his gaze made it seem like he understood the heavens. As he closed in, the heavens and earth changed colors, the wind split the clouds, and it felt like the entire world was under his control. A red halo faintly appeared around the old man's skin. As he moved forward, everyone who saw this was shocked. Only those who perfectly passed the first heaven's blight would have a halo of law protecting them. This halo also represented someone with shocking power. His figure was very fast, so much so that it was almost impossible to keep track of him. The ray of light flew across the sky, and in the next breath, he was 1,000 feet above Wang Lin. He was like a deity as he coldly looked down at Wang Lin. You do have guts. The old man's words were calm as he raised his right hand and mercilessly slammed down. This slam caused the heavens to shake. All the raindrops collapsed into water vapor. As they dissipated, red light came out and formed a giant net. This net covered the world and contained endless power of law that could shock the origin soul. This was a net made of law. This old man was no longer a deity. He had turned into a fisherman that was scattering the net. There was a boundary in this world, and that net seemed to be the boundary. The old man was in the sky and became the fisherman. Wang Lin on the ground became the fish, and the earth became the sea. The giant net became a cage made of law that wanted to capture the fish. This scene shocked Wang Lin's mind. It was very similar to his own Tao comprehension back then. In a way, it confirmed the fruit of his Tao from back then. The moment the net of law closed in, Wang Lin's eyes flashed and he charged into the air. In the other person's eyes, Wang Lin was the fish, and he couldn't escape the net. He would eventually be picked up by the net and be trapped in the cage of law. However, Wang Lin was a heaven-defying cultivator. What he defied was the heavens, so how could he do nothing? When he comprehended this back then, he saw the fish continue to struggle to escape the net. Today, Wang Lin became the fish under the spell of the white-haired old man. He was also going to struggle against the net of law, the white-haired old man, and the heavens. The net of law quickly descended and surrounded everything. It gave one the feeling that there was no place to hide, as if the entire world was under this net. The golden light from Wang Lin's body became brighter and brighter. The earth seemed to become the ocean, and he was the gradually rising sun. The first spell Wang Lin created, Sundered Night. Sundered Night contained the law of origin. He had comprehended this while watching the sun rise when he was still at the Nirvana cleanser stage. However, Sundered Night was too powerful, and the origin energy required to use it was beyond Wang Lin's limit. He could only use it a specific time without using any origin energy. However, now Wang Lin's domain had changed to true and false, he had devoured the Tao fruit, he had created the Star of Law, and most importantly, the comprehension of his second spell allowed him to use Sundered Night without waiting for that specific moment. Although its power wouldn't be at its highest and it couldn't last for too long, it was much better than only being able to use it at a specific moment. More importantly, the reason Wang Lin was willing to use it and waste all his origin energy to cast Sundered Night was because he didn't have to worry about his life. He had a mosquito herd. This was his ace and his life-saving spell. It was because of this that he didn't hesitate to help the origin sect rise up in the everlasting sect. At this moment, the net of law closed in, and Wang Lin laughed. His hands moved and the earth rumbled. The illusionary sea appeared. Although it wasn't real, there were still waves surging. The world was shrouded by darkness with only the red net of law slowly descending. This strange scene caused the old man's expression to change and his eyes to narrow. He withdrew any feeling of contempt and became very serious. When he attacked, he didn't intend to kill, it was meant as a test and a threat. He had naturally seen how strong Wang Lin was, and this kind of person had to become part of the everlasting sect and couldn't be arrogant. He was attacking to teach Wang Lin a lesson, teach him that the world was large and that the everlasting sect shouldn't be provoked. However, when he saw Wang Lin use Sundered Night, he took a deep breath. He had already thrown out the intent to teach Wang Lin a lesson and had revealed a hint of battle intent. What strange law! This child's spell is indeed amazing. The cultivators in the stands were shrouded in darkness. They were all confused as a force they didn't understand enveloped them, making their minds tremble. Even the elders of the everlasting sect were like this as well. They didn't know that back in the demon spirit land, Wang Lin had used Sundered Night to kill Master Void and forced the grey-robed Allseer to retreat. 2 of the Allseer's late-stage Nirvana Shatterer avatars had died. They also didn't know that Sundered Night was recognized as an extremely powerful spell after the battle in the demon spirit land. The waves surged under the darkness of the night. Everything was dark, even the net of law seemed to merge with the darkness, fusing together into one. The net landed on the sea, and the waves raged as if the sea was struggling. The net of law penetrated the sea and quickly descended toward Wang Lin. However, just as the net of law neared Wang Lin, the waves of the illusionary sea surged. A golden light emerged from the sea and slowly pushed back the darkness of the night. As the golden light grew stronger and stronger, even more golden light pierced through the sea. Soon, a rising sun appeared on the surface of the sea. The moment the sun appeared, the world was shrouded in golden light. The darkness of the night seemed to be torn apart by the law of origin. A rumble echoed as the darkness was forced back like crazy. When more than half of the sun had risen above the sea and appeared in the sky, a low voice echoed. Sundered Night. The moment these 2 words sounded, a blurry figure appeared inside the sun. This figure was Wang Lin. The cultivators whose minds had merged with the darkness felt pain in their origin souls. It was as if their bodies were being torn apart like the darkness. The expression of the old man in white that also merged with the darkness changed greatly and he quickly retreated. At the same time, his hands formed seals and the red halo around him flashed like crazy as it resisted the power of Sundered Night. A thunderous rumble echoed as the old man retreated. The golden light released a powerful glow in an instant. All the darkness in the world collapsed and rapidly dissipated. Just at this instant, the net of law descended on the sun Wang Lin was in. It seemed like it wanted to stop the sun from rising. The moment it was going to trap Wang Lin, he mercilessly pushed his hands out. The golden light around him surged and shot out like swords that contained the law of origin. The Sundered Night born from the sea contained the law of origin. There was no force that could stop the sun from rising, not even the net of law. As Wang Lin pushed forward, he erupted with the full force of Sundered Night. The golden light rushed out. It could tear apart all the barriers of the heavens and earth, including this fisherman's net made of law. A thunderous rumble echoed as the net of law trembled. Cracking sounds echoed and then it collapsed. It dissipated into the void along with the darkness. The fisherman had cast the net to catch the fish, but the fish had struggled and broken free from the net. However, Wang Lin was a fish but also not a fish. If he was a fish, he would have returned to the ocean after breaking free from the net. However, he was a heaven-defying cultivator, so he was not willing to leave. Instead, he wanted to retaliate. The golden light surrounded him and he stepped out when the net of law was broken. He coldly stared at the retreating white-haired old man that was resisting the power of Sundered Night. "Do you dare to receive my spell?" Wang Lin's voice was mighty, and it descended like the heavens might. These words were shockingly similar to what the old man had said, but now the situation was reversed because it was Wang Lin who said it. If it was before, people might have thought that Wang Lin was being arrogant. However, now, after he used Sundered Night, everyone was still trapped in the darkness. Even the elders of the everlasting sect felt like they were being torn apart along with the night. At this moment, these same words contained a shocking aura. Everyone's breaths seemed to stop. The white-haired old man continued to retreat, but his eyes were filled with monstrous battle intent. His hands formed a seal and he pointed forward. Every time he pointed, there would be a thunderous rumble from his body, and he began resisting the power of Sundered Night. This old man's power was extremely shocking, and Wang Lin's Sundered Night wasn't perfect. The rumbles echoed, and after the old man retreated 10,000 feet, the power of the Sundered Night was cancelled out. The red halo was like blood around him. An illusionary red halo appeared behind him and became giant. The red light this red halo gave off surrounded the area. Since you took one of my spells, then I'll take one of yours. The white-haired old man's expression was extremely serious. He no longer gave off an old aura but instead released his shocking cultivation. The red halo was redder than blood as he charged forward. He crossed 10,000 feet in an instant as he rushed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He didn't have much origin energy left after using Sundered Night, but his eyes also released monstrous battle intent. The star of law between his eyebrows flashed like crazy and rotated rapidly. As it rotated, the origin energy of the world began to condense toward Wang Lin like crazy. It was extremely difficult for him to kill someone at the first Heaven's Blight. Only if his injuries recovered and he released the seal on his cultivation to reach the Nirvana Shatterer stage would there be a chance. However, it was obvious none of this was possible. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The moment the white-haired old man closed in, he raised his hand and waved. As he waved, a mighty force surged out from the sea under him. At the same time, an image appeared in Wang Lin's mind. In that image there was a huge, stone door on an endless ocean. It was towering and gave off an ancient aura. It was as if it had existed since the beginning of the world. This image was the door in the wind celestial realm. As the image appeared in his mind, it replaced all his thoughts. With a wave of his right hand, he displayed his image to the world through a strange method. As his right hand waved, the waves on the sea raged, and a giant whirlpool appeared. The earth trembled and a thunderous rumble echoed as a giant stone door slowly rose up from the sea. At this moment, this scene was identical to the one in his mind. The moment the giant, stone door appeared, an unspeakable pressure enveloped the world. This shocked awake all the cultivators that were still in a trance from Sundered Night. However, after a moment of being awake, they were shocked once more. Looking at the stone gate above the ocean, the sense of time filled their hearts. The white-haired old man charging over suddenly stopped and gasped. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The moment he saw Sundered Night, he thought that was the limit of Wang Lin's spells. However, looking at the stone door, he was shaken. With his cultivation level, he could feel the power of time even more clearly, and he had a bad feeling. How could this person have so many spells? Ever since he got here, he hasn't taken out any treasures, he has just used spells. To have such strength with just spells, isn't he a bit too powerful? The old man took a deep breath, and the battle intent in his eyes became even stronger. Given his position in the everlasting sect, he wasn't allowed to retreat. His cultivation level also didn't allow him to retreat without battling, even though he had a vague feeling that there was a slight change to the world after the stone door appeared. The moment stone door broke through the sea, Wang Lin didn't move, but the stone door rapidly rose him into the sky. It looked like he was watching over all life. Wang Lin's eyes were completely calm, without any emotion, but he gave off an aura of desolation. This aura was like the wind celestial realm, so dense that it wouldn't dissipate at all. At the same time the stone door appeared, a gust of wind flew across the sea, went past the door, and circled the world. Wang Lin's figure on the stone door felt even more desolate. He stood there as if he was at the peak of the world, but aside from his position, the sky was still the sky, only it seemed extremely lonely. The feeling of desolation became even stronger with this loneliness, as if it had accompanied him for countless years. The white-haired old man's figure closed in and the red light around him shined brightly. The red halo behind him pressed toward Wang Lin with a destructive aura. As the old man moved forward, the sea roared and the waves surged. The platform began to fragment and collapse. This platform that took up a small portion of the planet collapsed and turned into gravel. Even the sky was filled with cracks as if it was going to be torn apart while the old man charged. What was even more shocking was that at this instant, A bright red dot appeared between the eyebrows of almost everyone watching. These dots were blood red, as if they contained the essence of the blood in their bodies. Only a few cultivators activated their origin energy by force to resist the red dot from appearing. This blood dot was the law of the white-haired old man. At this moment, his cultivation erupted like crazy. While it stirred up the world, it also affected the surrounding cultivators. The old man let out a roar and charged out toward Wang Lin. However, when he got close, Wang Lin's eyes opened as if he had awakened from years of slumber. His gaze fell on the white-haired old man. The moment Wang Lin's gaze landed, the white-haired man's mind trembled. He felt it even more clearly now. The small change to the world was unexpectedly flowing time. Wang Lin's voice was very calm and low. However, at this moment, his words entered the old man's mind and affected his memories. This caused the old man to immediately stop. His eyes were filled with confusion and struggle. The flowing time spell didn't attack the body or the origin soul, but one's memories. During his trip to the everlasting sect, Wang Lin found that flowing time had a similar effect to the Dao scatter spell used by the old man in the seven-colored realm. One breath was 100 years. The world seemed to become eternal. The flow of time seemed to become silent, and it quietly passed. One breath, in the blink of an eye, 10 breaths passed. The wrinkles on the white-haired old man dissipated a lot and the struggle in his eyes became even more intense. At this moment, he was immersed in his memories as 1,000 years passed by like pages of a book being flipped. What moved wasn't only the old man's cultivation, but almost all the surrounding 100,000 cultivators' memories. 1,000 years of memories went by in just 10 breaths of time. The eternal time appeared in the world like a giant hand and released the sealed confusion. One breath of time passed by at a time. In the blink of an eye, another 10 breaths passed. 2,000 years of memories were unconsciously flipped through. The white-haired old man struggled as he recalled 2,000 years of memories in a short 20 breaths of time. His cultivation was gradually suppressed and became less lively as it slowly dissipated. The old man saw his favorite disciple die in the spatial crack 3,000 years ago. He was battling the beast tide at the demon sect. No remains were found, and only a broken sword was sent back. He saw that broken sword, and the sadness from back then entered his heart once more. He recalled 4,000 years ago and 5,000 years ago, before he reached the peak of the first heaven's blight. He struggled in closed-door cultivation as he resisted the decay the first heaven's blight was causing to his body. As his memories were moved, he seemed to return to his past, and the pain filled his whole body, drowning him. His cultivation level also returned to what it was 5,000 years ago and rapidly dissipated. He saw himself roaring in the pain and letting out an unwilling roar. The roar echoed in his mind, which made the struggle in his eyes even more violent. I have cultivated 19,000 years. I refuse to yield to the first heaven's blight. I have killed countless people and comprehended the law of blood. I won't allow myself to die like this. As the white-haired old man roared, a crackling sound could be heard around him. The old man coughed out blood and quickly retreated. He had broken free from the flowing time spell. As he retreated, all the red dots on all the surrounding cultivators flashed and flew out toward the old man. However, the old man's face was also pale as he retreated and looked at Wang Lin with shock and fear. What kind of spell is this? He had never seen such a bizarre spell in his life. This spell was beyond his imagination. If it wasn't for the fact that he had broken free at the critical moment and prevented time from reversing 10,000 years, he was scared to think of the consequences. For the first time, he felt like Wang Lin was extremely profound. He no longer had any intent to teach Wang Lin a lesson, he only felt endless terror. Wang Lin's eyes were calm, but he let out a sigh. He had just comprehended flowing time and still hadn't perfected it. He also didn't have much origin energy left, and the other party was simply too strong. Reversing 5,000 years was his limit, so he couldn't trap the white-haired old man. However, Wang Lin was confident that this spell had scared the old man. This video will end here.